There's nothing like almost closing OBS while you're trying to do a stream. That would be awesome. I think we're up. Looks like the mic's live. Hi, how you doing? So, I've titled this Panic Painting like the whole week. And now we're really getting into like panic because I've got basically today and a little bit of tomorrow morning because I got stuff to do tomorrow evening. And Saturday is the tournament. So, yeah, we're going to get right into it here. Finished up the endless spell that we were working on yesterday. And there we go. Glade Worm. As tends to happen with me, I was like, we're just going to do a quick little paint job on this boy, and next thing I know, I'm doing like 4 and 5 colors across the scales, and because it looks good, and well, you know, things happen. So he does have a mold line that I'm not happy with, but oh well. It turned out really well. I'm looking for someplace to set it. Alright, he's going back there. The Chaos Knights that I was working on yesterday, I think I started working on this one on the stream. Or not Chaos Knights, Chaos Warriors. They're an old sculpt, but they turn out pretty well. And same with these. Like, I happen to have one of the old, where I did my Demonettes, I still had one of the old Slanesh toppers. There's a lot of contrast paint, like the dark armor is done with the Black Templar, and like the fur and stuff on their collar, that's all contrast paint. It makes for a nice, quick, easy paint job, and it looks pretty dark. Looks pretty good. As I'm trying to find space for this. Alright, so Arch Revenant. I've done one of these, but he's needing 2, so we're going to try to get this one knocked out pretty quick. But the last one I did was in a purple color. And this one, because like I did the Tree Reverence, I think, in purple, and then the Spite Reverence in pink. And we're going to try to do this one in a similar fashion. I don't know how I'm going to do the top of the wings yet. We're just going to sort of make this up as I go along. But to get our base color down, actually I need white first because the white on this is sort of hit or miss. So we'll start off with some Menoth white and get across the little wing panels to smooth those out, make them a little more consistent. Then we can get something across the top of it in our pink color that we like. A little bit of water. So knocking around Chaos Warriors that you can't see. Make sure we're on there, and we're just gonna go through and, like, I'm not even worried about the little cell sections at this point. There's like these little vein things that go between the different parts of this. But what I want to do is I just sort of want to make that white a more consistent layer, because that will come in important later. So I haven't figured out how to stop myself from doing that. Like on that worm, I obviously had not intended to go that detailed in it. And the next thing I know, I'm like, well, this model looks good, and we're going to make it look really good. So or at least try. And yeah, the next thing I know, I'm like spending all day painting on it. I don't know if I'm the only person that runs into that issue. Probably not. I sit down and it's like, you know, it's a good model. I just knock this out really, really fast. Next thing I know, I'm like 7 colors in on what was supposed to be like a 4 or 5. Just because I like the model and I like the way that it's going. I'm like, I can, you know, I could do this. I could do that really fast and it'll make this look better. Yep. You get in there and it's like, oh, wait, no, this will work. This will work. You know, if I just put 3 more colors across this scale, this scale's really gonna pop. So far, I haven't been able to find a way to stop myself from doing that. Like I said, I'm just putting some white on here to get this to smooth out a little bit. That and this, it's Minoth white highlight. And so it's just a little off-white. It's like an eggshell color. I'm sure that it's hard as hell to see on this thing because anytime this iPhone sees white, it just, it does not like it. Especially if there's any kind of light on it. Which, this is a daylight bulb up here, so like, if I turn this off for a second, you'll see why. Hold on a second, let's see if this works. Ew, no, that did not work for anything, but so basically I'm just coating those wings, trying to get that white to smooth out a little bit. The second I turn that light on, man, it just blasts that thing. This is why professionals have key lights. You could tune the damn lighting. No, ask if I'm a professional. No. Would I like a key light? Yes. Am I going to get a key light? Maybe. Again, this has got to be the most exciting part of this painting, is trying to smooth out white. The only reason we're doing this is because it's harder to do later. Once the white's down and you start putting another color on top of it, it's hard to get it to act right. Alright, so I said that I was going to do it in a pink, right? With the other one, I just took Dragonhof Night, or not Dragonhof, I used Druchii Violet. Very purpley wash shade, and depending on how much of it you put on, depends on how strong the shading is. So what I'm going to do, let's take this. Wow, that was almost like that was almost Caribou Crimson everywhere. That would have been wonderful. This whole stream would have gone to Goodfellas range profanity in like 2 seconds. It would have been great. So a couple of drops of that. And then you could use Lamia medium. I'm just about out, so I'm gonna take slow dry blending medium. We're gonna give that a shot, see what happens here. Give it a drop, cut it about 50-50. Basically, I just need this Caribou Crimson to be... Ew, and that is not going to work. That went chunky so fast. Ugh. That did not thin it out. It like became like snot. Well, we're going to try to do it a different way, but we're going to have to... yeah, Lamia medium's going in. One, two, three. That should be enough. And then like one of these. There we go. So, there's a quick little lesson. Do not try to shortcut that shit. Alright. So, what I'm aiming for here is the skin. I just want it sort of tinted pink. And to make this easy, I went bloop. Little poster putty in there to hold her head on. Because there's honestly not a whole lot of skin on this model. And the head gets in the way when you're trying to reach down in here and get around the corners and the hips. Up here. And then luckily her left arm is mostly tree, so not a big deal. Don't forget her hand because it's easy to do. Go up right around her neck and around the back there. Back down around. And honestly, that's all the skin on this model. So then I'm going to take my Caribou Crimson, like these horns and stuff on the upper part of the helmet. This is just straight on there. Uh-oh. So I want these darker. There is a method to the madness here. The helmet I'm going to paint in that gold silver that I do. But when you come up with this straight straight to the top of the helmet, it sometimes pools a little bit. Like right along there. To hell with it. Head wants to come off, we're taking the head off. And I just want a real good coat of this. these horns that come out of her head. Here in a minute, we'll go back and hit her hair. Alright. As soon as I find... So for the majority of her body, it's wood. It's the bark. Like I said, with painting all these in one shot, I made up a pot of the contrast just to do for the bark on these guys. Try to keep off. She's got her foot like propped up on this huge skull. I'm gonna try to keep off of that. Just reach back in there and hit. Ooh, you gotta watch it right there because that pink's still wet right there at her body, and the contrast will pool really quick with that stuff, and you'll end up with some weird color that you never intended to use. This is another one of those models where, you know, there's a bunch of detail and it's great and all that fun stuff until you try to figure out how you're going to paint it. Like this hip and stuff. You can try to do this in a sub-assembly, but the model doesn't make a whole lot of sense if it's not put together. It just doesn't... It's not real intuitive as to what you're looking at on any given part of this. So I'm on the back part of this leg. I'm trying to stay off the leaves and just get this brown where her leg is. I know I'm going to have to come back around because the way that the contrast is already pooling, it's way too bright in a bunch of the areas. Without the head on there, it makes like getting back here around the neck and everything a whole lot easier. You don't have to worry about hitting that skull. 2 of them are done and 3 of them are 60% done. Sandy asked if the Chaos Knights were done. It turned out pretty well. Majority of it is contrast, but still turned out awesome. I'm happy with it. Yeah, there's 2 up there at the top. Like, so like my little leader is sitting here where I put the white, like I primed everything in silver, but I put the white back over the parts that I'm going to use with the fur contrast. Can't remember which one it is. Or no, it's actually Cygor Brown is what I've been using on there. They got these little pelts and stuff that they wear. Still got to go back with the silver on those and hit that. But it's fun. after so my leader actually does. I put the little skull helmet on him. I'm trying to decide whether or not I actually want to try to make it look like bone on the front or not, but with the amount of time that I have left and the amount of stuff I have to paint before, yeah, I don't know if that's gonna happen. It may happen later, but I don't think it's gonna happen today. At one point this week, I was actually thinking about hitting Kai up and going, you know, I've got these Stormcasts that have these skull heads and everything. You think I can proxy those as Chaos Warriors? I think I'll do that with the Bone Reapers. Go back and rebase a bunch of my Stormcasts, the ones that I have all the skulls and everything on, and just proxy them as Bone Reapers. Pretty sure that'd take a bunch of folks off. All right. Alright, for the shield, I used... So, like, this is the same army. This is actually from Underworlds. And, a bunch of their stuff is supposed to be, you know, it's supposed to be ghostly and... or spirity, or whatever you want to call it. And... like the blades of the weapons, I always do those in the Nylock Oxide. But also, for whatever reason, I decided since the weapons were done to where they looked ghostly, I would do the shield that she has and do it up ghostly too. So, since I did it on one, I gotta do it on the other. We're gonna take Nylock Oxide, make sure it's good and shook up. We'll do the weapon real fast. This is one of those colors that you have to go back and hit a second time or it just doesn't look right. So don't worry about it too much on the first pass. Just get it down, let it start drying, and go back and touch it up. Best thing I can say is try to get it just everywhere that you're wanting it to go. And let it chill for a couple of minutes. Like the inside of the shield here, for whatever reason, when I did the other one, I decided that would be ghostly, and then I went back and I put in these little details that are on the shield. You can sort of see them popping out as I change the color on it. I tied the color back in with the rest of the model. I think I put a purple in there. Maybe I did purple or green. Can't remember which one I did. But then on the back of it, it's sort of like Almost like it's a plated wicker shield. I don't know. But I'm going to try to put a little of that nalic oxide in there without getting it all over everything else. But apparently the strap just needs some, so yeah. I'm not too worried about it, as long as it doesn't get on that hand too much. Because, there we go. We'll, the rest of that shield will be that gold silver color that I like to use. Not a big deal. Alright. She has the wonderful dress of leaves. The cascade down her back. We're not using warp lightning, no. We're actually going to go... So I figured out yesterday that if you do the green right, it pops pretty good. Like the little leaves on here. That's orc flesh, believe it or not. It pops up pretty good. So we're going to go back here and do a little bit of this on that skirt that she has. And then what we'll probably do is when it dries, I'll come back with some of the Lamenter's yellow, which isn't a contrast, it's actually a technical shade. And we will hit around there and it will really brighten up the green. It does weird things to green, and I like it. And with as many leaves and everything on here as are on here, trying to paint them all and then edge highlight and all that fun stuff, you could literally lose your mind doing this. And we'll take from yesterday's scale experience and try not to do that again today. Why? Because we have too much stuff to paint in a day. Who needs sleep, right? So I'm putting this on pretty thick, and I'm going to let the contrast do its thing, where it pools and gives me some different tones and stuff. Now the trick is let's get this in there, but not get it on the brown. What I'm really looking for is any spots where the green just sort of stops and the eye still catching the white base coat or primer. Man, this thing is a bear. Alright. So part of the reason, like, she's on her base, but I'm not. I use Sandy said he could help me mess up a whole bunch of metals real fast. Yep, it doesn't take a whole lot to mess them up really, really fast, but so like this one, it's easier to go in from underneath the model. And then like this little back part, you can't probably see it on camera, but way back there behind her leg, she's got a spot that's just glowing white to me. So basically what I did was I just gunked a bunch of the contrast on there and just sort of pushed the brush down there and let it leak across it. Is it the most controlled thing to do? Nope. That spot's green now. I also didn't get it everywhere on where I wasn't trying to get it, so. Boink. Alright, going back to our noggin here. You'd think I'd just keep these paints like right where I got them, but no. I don't. Alright, so like I said, it's pooling right there around the base of that helmet. Her hair comes out from underneath this weird helmet thing. But I want it in the dark, or the darker shade part, I guess. So I'm just going to go around and hit that. Like so. I will let that sit down there for a second. Unless the part grabs hold of you like that. Then it's hard to let them go. Now, switch gears. Because we're going to go back to normal paint. That's right. We can't get away from that stuff. We can. It's just not going to look right if we do. We're going to go with throwing our brushes into our lap. An old GW paint rack. Sandy says, I figured you would have an old GW paint rack. I don't know what the old GW paint racks look like. To be honest, I only really started grabbing GW paints within the last year and a half or so. He says as there's GW paints smashed all over his desk. Yep, I have issues. I see a paint and I think of something that I could paint with it, and then I have to have that paint. Oh well. Could be worse. Are you talking about those like black ones? They were the they're the black like almost look like a honeycomb sort of pattern, and you set the paints down into them. Is that what you're talking about? All right. So I'm going to go around on the skull. I'm using the shop D bone. Yeah. At least once a giga. Oh, the big, like, like the store display paint rack? Is that what you're talking about? Like, where it's just got the giant slide and I reach over here and pull it off the rack? That would, yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah. No, I haven't gone to the full-on I need a paint rack sort of thing. Although it would be cool. At least I think it'd be cool. Which could explain a whole lot on how I ended up painting little plastic guys, huh? So when I did all the Marvel Crisis stuff, which, hey, that game's coming out this week. I haven't talked about it at all because I've been concentrating on this stuff. But this week, this Saturday, while I'm up there playing Age of Sigmar, Crisis Protocol, Atomic Masses game, will be coming out on Saturday. And if you like little Marvel guys, damn, are you going to be in for a treat, because they are putting a bunch of those in there. They're well, it's basically what I started off painting on these streams with, is the Marvel Crisis Protocol. So like I did Spider-Man, Doc Ock, Captain America, Captain Marvel, trying to think of all the ones that I painted on stream. If you go over to my YouTube channel, up there in the top right hand side, you can go on there and look back like a week or two. That's basically as far back as these go, and you'll see a bunch of videos titled Marvel Crisis Protocol, because I can speak English. If you go back and check those out, you'll see some of the figures and everything that are coming in the starter box on that game. And I got to see them back at GenCon when they first announced them. And I've been drooling, waiting for these things to come out. And come Saturday, they will be out, and we'll be able to play some games with those. My putty was coming up from underneath there. Now, I don't know if you've ever tried to paint poster putty. It doesn't work real well. There's that. So if we get a little of the bleed over from the brown into the side of the skull, that's, I guess, alright. We'll just use it as a dark line. Sure. Right there. Around. I knew there's a couple of spots, like at the top of that hip right there, that I missed. Underneath there, looking a little bright for the brown that I'm looking for. Give these branches another once over with the brown since I got it on the brush. And then across the back here where it lightened up. I like the Wildwood's just too dark for me straight out the bottle. Like if you put it on there, it just is so dark. It's darker than a DC film. So I cut the contrast with the medium, and that way I can control it. Like if it's going to go on light, which is fine because I already know that, and it's a whole lot easier to go back and do a couple little touches here and there to get it to darken up than trying to go back and brighten the bark and stuff back up. just cleaned the brush out and I saw this big glaring white spot. It seems to happen that way. Right there. There's all these little vine branches going through there. I'm not too worried about it because I'm going to give that a really nasty wash with some Earthshade and it'll dirty all that up. So in the meantime, we're going to switch brushes. We're going to grab solid gold. Put a dab of that in there. And I'm going to take my Radiant Platinum. If you've seen any of the other streams, it's one of my favorite colors. Actually, this is just like a mix that I use on the elves and stuff. Anytime I want something to look I don't know why. I just mix these two a lot because the color comes out really well. It's very bright. Just equal parts of the two. And then stir them around. It makes a really pretty bright gold. And it mixes on there. You can still see like little streaks of silver and little streaks of gold. That's fine. We're not looking for it to be perfectly matched across the two. I just want it to where I can get a good coat. So around the shield, yep, I almost did it. I'll switch this other brush. I was just not holding any paint. It's the issue you run into with the smaller brushes. They tend to dry out pretty darn quick. Like on the front of the shield, there's like a little raised edge. My main concern is I really don't want to go back into that green that I put in the center. I can run around that edge, but I don't want to go into that green because I'm trying to go over this gold with the green is a bear. I want to stay off the bark too. There's that. Around there like that. Ah, my ear's itching. Around the side. Around there. So the way that I've explained this to myself is that their weapons are sort of magical. Like they don't really exist until they grab hold of it. But they still need something to grab hold of. So, like they grab hold of these, like on this one you grab hold of the back of the shield where, I don't know, the strap, I guess? Where it straps the arm. And it's made out of that gold. And then like the rest of the man, the rest of the weapon forms. Same thing with the blades and stuff. Like if you look on, like on this guy, where he's actually holding on to is actually gold. It's like a solid part of the blade. A little part where like the Nylox oxide is their little magic, so L'Oreal's granting him a weapon, I guess. I don't know why. And just my head makes these little things up when I'm painting this stuff. I'm sorry, y'all. I keep coughing. Hold on one second. Let me get a drink of water here. And I'm out of water. We're not drinking the paint water. Not happening. So, bottom of this one. Down here. So I actually shot this with primer the other day when it was like 30 something degrees. So I can't believe that this primer's actually held on to here. It's Rattlecat and primer too, so like I grabbed the model, stepped outside, shot the primer. Yeah, the candy cigs got me coughing again. I need to cut back. Like I said, I don't know why I come up with these little stories in my head. It just, I guess because I'm sitting here painting and staring at them and all that stuff, it just gives me a couple of minutes to think about, you know, why would it be like this? Well, this reason. Does that mean that's the way it is? Nope. But that's the way it is in my head. And I'm the one painting the model for right now, so that's the way it'll be until somebody else gets hold of this model and comes up with some other reason that it's done that way. Alright. Where the hell did the head go? Alright. So, I'm going to very carefully go around on this helmet. Right up next to where we've done the pink will be this metal. Yeah, it could be. Especially with the horns and stuff. Sorry. And there's little horns. Come back here around on the back. We're just trying to get the back of the helmet. Stay out of the hair. And yes, I get real quiet when I start concentrating on something. All right. Before I go any further on that, there's that little poster putty that I got that's jammed right there. And the easiest way to get poster putty out is to use poster putty. And the reason I'm taking it out now is because it was running right there along that jaw. If I don't get it out now, when I painted that gold right there, there would be a little ridge right there. Would it bother anybody else? Probably not. Would it bother me? Yep. So, just right there. She's got two eye sockets that are built into the helmet. I'm just trying to make sure that that gold paint doesn't exactly, I mean it covers it, but I don't want it pooling in there. I want those eyes to still be there. I don't want to lose the detail in that. So, what we'll end up doing is we'll end up taking a little bit of that stuff that we used on the skin earlier, which is now like, yeah, we can't use that. But we'll give that gold a light wash with some of the cut Caribou Crimson or Carolberg, whatever the hell that stuff is. And we'll give it a slight wash with that to just turn that gold just a little bit more toward that pink range. The fun part of this model is actually the wings. She has this bug that attaches to her back. Ends up looking something along those lines right there. And it's not a smooth surface across there. There's these little ridges that go all across the wing. And it makes it damn near impossible to do a blend unless you want to do a blend across every one of those cells, which after yesterday I'm probably still gonna do because I want it to look good. So we're just shy of the hour mark. We'll probably cut it right there. In the meantime, I'm going to go back. I'm waiting for some of that to dry, so I'll go back and do some of my... Nope, that didn't work. I'll do some of the Chaos Warriors, finish them up, get them looking the way that I want them, get them on the bases. The bases are already done. I went ahead and pre-did those, so they're ready to go. Knock this out. And then we have a unit of Tree Reverence to go. And one more Kurnoth Hunter to go to make that unit of 3. If I get all that stuff done, then we'll knock out a couple of Dryads. Hopefully 10 or so. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. A lot of painting left to do, not a whole lot of time to do it. Got basically tonight and tomorrow morning to finish it all up, and then the tournament starts Saturday morning. So like I said, Crisis Protocol comes out this weekend, Saturday. If you're not playing in the tournament, swing by, check it out. There's a demo set up there, fully painted. A bunch of the folks that work up there know how to play the demo games, all that fun stuff. You can go up there, request a game. I don't know if you'll be able to do that this weekend because there should be a lot of folks playing the tournament. But it's an option. So swing by, check them out, see what you think. It's a fun little game and pretty easy way to hop in. There's some terrain, there's some models. Get you started pretty quick. I'm gonna get off here and get back to painting this. So y'all have a good day, stay warm, and go paint something.